Hello, my name is Alan, and today I am facilitating the last of a series of Checkpoint Midnight. This is a game in development, a PBTA game in development by Cloven Pine Games, which is set in Cold War Vienna in the late 1940s to early 50s. But the twist on that Cold War is that all the characters are supernatural in some way. Indeed. So that's the twist that Checkpoint Midnight adds. Unfortunately, we are down to 2 players today due to something coming up in someone else's life, which means they had to drop out for this last session, but we are determined to play through. This game was organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG community's monthly calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG and you will find everything we do there, including, if you were to contribute to Patreon, that would support the community and at a certain level give you priority access to these games. So, look us up, come play with us. Right, this is the 4th and final session of a series, and I'll outline after the players have introduced themselves where I think we've got to and invite them to correct my misremembering. But for now, can I ask Kaloum, say hello and introduce us to Grand Gilles.
Hello, I am Kaloum from the Rollis podcast, and today I will be playing Grand Gilles. Grand Gilles is a elemental Djinn, more specifically from the air element. Grand Gilles went through the war engaging into smuggling of many kinds. Is a what we call in French, be played by one of the favorite actors of Mike, Jean Gabin. He's aging, burly, somehow charming, with a disarming smile, but a frightening temper tantrums now and then. And he wear an old beige coat with over a warm wool cardigan, and the only piece of true luxury he's got is a rather fancy silk scarf.
And there he is.
Jean.
And then, if I can ask Will to say hello and tell us something about Pearl.
Absolutely. I am Will Munn. I have worked on quite a few different RPGs, including the just released Zorro, the role-playing game, and also I have a new game coming to Kickstarter here in August called Arium. You can find out more about Arium by searching for Arium RPG or Adept Icarus, which is the name of my company. You will see me today playing Pearl, who is a construct. She is a golem brought to life by a piece of holy scripture. She looks like this famous Austrian statue that is pictured. And she is, I wouldn't say obsessed, but she is very interested in how humanity comes to be and in its itness, for lack of a better word. She can be found when she has nothing better to do, perhaps watching women getting their hair done. And she is definitely the soft spot of the group, right? She has substantial feelings for those who are less fortunate and believes that they should be protected. And I think that's good.
Yeah, that's great. And so where we got to last time was that the group is searching for a supernatural, mystical piece of music, sheet music, which is about to be premiered. It's claimed to be a lost Beethoven symphony, and it is to be premiered in Vienna. Unfortunately, what the agents know is that if it is played, then dark, shadowy, chthonic creatures will rise from the rubble beneath where it's being played and destroy Vienna. We currently believe it to be in possession of the Soviet authorities. The group thought that they had lifted it, but they didn't get the actual piece of music. They believed that Seraphine, I've forgotten her second name, Seraphine Durand, the famed French pianist, was to play this in a matter of days. But the suggestion was that she was being forced to play it because her sister Margaritte was being held hostage by a Russian mafiosa, a Russian criminal, though connected to the Soviet party. And it was Boris Stepanovich, played by Brian Cox in our movie version of this. It was he who chased the team in an effort to get Margaritte back when they managed to snatch her from a restaurant where he was taking her to dinner. And then at the end of the last session, one of the characters who we knew wasn't going to be here today, to an extent sacrificed himself using his magic to swap himself with Boris before. So he's now, as far as we know, in the hands of the Soviets, but Boris is in the hands of the group. What I'm going to suggest is that in order to explain the absence of our third character, in whose apartment we are located, is I'm going to suggest that when Pearl and Callum are, how can I, this is slightly difficult. What I want to, well, you tell me how this happens. That's the way every GM should just divest himself of difficult questions.
That's cheating.
It's cheating. But it seems to me that the logical thing to have happened, because we know that our missing character, Chaz Hamilton, has a Soviet handler, that he is connected to the Soviet authorities. We also know that the other character who sacrificed himself last time is connected to the British authorities. I guess what I'm thinking about is the logical thing is for Chaz to make a break for it with Boris back to the Soviet sector. That dismantles my difficulty of explaining how you two are left in Chaz's apartment without Chaz. But how could that happen? How do we think that could have happened? Or am I overthinking?
Should we be nice or should we be mean?
Mean.
The players aren't here. Be mean.
Very mean.
What do you think?
I mean, we did quite a splash in that restaurant, and we literally, not only we made a splash in a restaurant, but we made a splash in a restaurant which is sort of a neutral ground for all the organizations and often have representatives of those organizations. So I'm almost tempted to say that since, correct me if I'm wrong, Pearl, neither you or I have any formal attachment to an organization yet. Nope. What happened is that you see two separate scenes, or maybe they're in a split screen scene when you see Chaz, who said, "Okay, I'm gonna go buy some groceries," and he's being pulled into a black van, so with the bag on his head and so on. And after a while, Pearl can only wonder what happened to Chaz because he's taking a bit too long. And around that time, Grandgilles is coming back to the apartment because he was away having to deal with his own master, who was neither, until further notice, part of the Soviet Union or the former Allied forces. So NATO, and not quite to be NATO, I guess. And when he comes back, he's like, "Where is everybody?" And he brought breakfast because Grandgilles is like that.
So that explains why Chaz isn't here. Our slight difficulty is that we're stuck with Boris. And at dawn, Boris will swap back for our other missing character, Nico.
Oh, okay.
because that's the nature of that magic. It isn't long lasting. So, so what about an opportunity for you to interrogate Boris? I've now got an idea of how to move on from this now that you've got Chaz out of my mind. So here's an opportunity then with breakfast to interrogate Boris. Or let's have it very early morning, pre-dawn. Yeah. Then we don't have to worry about the swap for a little while. Okay. So, what do you want to know from Boris, Pearl?
You know what happens. You know what happens, right?
And he looks, because you chained him handcuffed him to a radiator, so he is looking very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that depends what you mean, young woman.
Do you have loved ones?
It takes him a long time to answer. There are people I value.
What happens to them if this music is played?
I think you've just triggered decipher. When you take the time to decipher a personal situation. Now, are you using, it sounds like you're using just natural rather than supernatural efforts to do this.
Right.
So I think this is a role plus operator, Pearl. So 2 dice plus operator. Hang on, roll for your party is in the keeper somewhere, but I'll put it in the chat.
I've got some.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Okay. Let's see.
I mean, it's worth asking if Grangil wants to help.
It won't matter. That's a 3.
It's not then.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and he just goes stone-faced on you. And then you can hear sirens.
Pearl will take Grangil aside for a moment. We have to get out of here. Should we let him go?
Well, the thing is, if I understand things correctly, I mean, Chaz sort of explained before he left. So our friend's gonna take back the place of that person. So I'm concerned that if we leave that person here, we're not only losing that person, we're also losing our friend. So I think we should take him along, but yeah, I'm not sure how.
What if we let him go and follow him?
Yeah, I guess we could do that, but the problem is that it seems like the approaching we need to leave fast because yeah, you know what? Yes, let's pretend we scamper away, we're scared by what's going on, so we throw him the key and ask him not to. I don't know. We throw him the key, making him think that we're just fleeing, and we keep an eye on him, like you suggest.
Yes,
that might be a plan.
Not tell him anything.
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm seeing then is you leaving the building, leaving him with the key, and I think you've left the building, and what we will see is Boris quickly unlocks himself because he can hear the sirens as well, and he doesn't know what that signals, but it can't be good. And then he runs downstairs, looks either way up the darkened street, and heads off towards the canal and the Russian Soviet sector on the far side of the canal. So that's the direction he's heading. It is going to be complicated. I'm going to not have you manage to find him, because if you find him, of course, you will find Nico, the other character, as soon as the sun comes up. And that would, I don't really want to force somebody else's character to be doing things, important. So I think you know where he's heading, but I don't think you'll be able to follow him for far, because then 2 jeeps screech to a halt outside Chaz's apartment above this old ballet studio. And that means there are 2 members of each of the great powers who storm upstairs, and you can see them ransacking the apartment. What are you going to do?
Fancy coming to my place?
I will remind you, there is checkpoint midnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can.
We can't plot there, but we could go there. We could ask people around.
I suppose what I'm curious about, I can't remember if any of you have any conditions or serious harm at this point. Actually, as I look, I don't think you do.
No.
Yeah, it all got cleared.
Yeah, so the emergency room at the back of Checkpoint Midnight isn't going to be much use to you. So no, I take it back.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can jump cut just to my place then. So you arrive in a somewhat derelict building. I guess maybe several of the apartments are still unoccupied because the building hasn't been refurbished yet. But despite the state of that building, I opened the door of one of the apartments, and it's quite nice. It's quite sparse. It's a bit messy. There's a lot of sketches and painting frame lying around, and you pretty much have it's more like the workshop of a small-time painter with a corner with a matrix thrown into it than a regular person, rather than what a regular person would have as a living accommodation. It's kind of bohem, let's say. And on one of the walls there's a rather much nice sketch framed. Fais comme chez toi. Welcome to my place, my palace. You want something to drink? Wine?
None for me, thank you. But I never painted you as an artist, Grand Gilles.
Well, I never painted you as my model either, but that could be an interesting exercise. If we had time, another evening maybe. Really, you didn't take me the artistic type. I thought I was kind of fitting the bill though. How do you picture artists? Pearl, tell me. I'm curious to hear that.
I don't know. I guess now I picture them like you.
That would be quite accurate, I think.
I am going to remind you of refresh and release, because it's not a mechanism that we've engaged with consciously in play. But I do want to remind you that there are ways to recover stress using the refresh, which is down on row 47, 48, and then release underneath as kind of keys to roleplay. So I'll just give you a moment to take those in, because this is downtime. So if you wanted to make use of downtime in a way that was mechanically helpful, I'd be very happy to see how that played out.
So how does that work, you said? Refresh and release?
So refresh. So for instance, Grand Gilles, during your downtime, when you dance uninhibited, pick one, clear your stress track or clear a condition. If you let another PC see you dance, pick both. Now, I appreciate that you don't have any conditions, but I think you both have some stress marked. And then the release, going to look at Pearl's. If during the session, Pearl leaves behind a piece of herself, or is naive, misconstrues someone's words or actions terribly, or tender-hearted, then you can trigger each release move once per session to clear a stress or mark XP. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that you were spotting those, because, as I say, we've not engaged with them much consciously.
Well, I think quite simply, Grand Gilles is gonna put on some music. You know, he's got an old record player, some like Weimar Republic popular songs. So you're gonna put on one of those vinyls, and as he's pouring himself some drink, since you don't have any, and he's starting to engage in conversation about what we're gonna do next. He's then, he's just enjoying himself. He doesn't seem too stressed about the situation, and yeah, he's just dancing because he feels like it.
What I think I'm seeing on screen is that, as he's doing this, the music, and it starts as just a little sway of the head, and gradually becomes less and less inhibited, until he's dancing round the small kitchen that this apartment has. Pearl, what on earth do you make of that?
Pearl is so first off, she's not being rude by not accepting a drink, although it may seem that way potentially, but she doesn't drink. I mean, she doesn't eat or drink. Right. And so, but yeah, this whole situation is fascinating to her, because she's seeing a side to someone that she thought she had more or less figured out. And so she may even just go almost statue and just watch and just observe.
This really kind of focused concentration.
Yes.
That Gilles is entirely unaware of. And there's some, we get some sense of there's a playback between the two here, that he almost forgets you're there because you go so still. There's nothing at the corner of his eye to notice, and so he dances. And I think therefore,
you would even have a transition kind of matching the position of Pearl being like a statue and Gilles dancing, and you see a transition which is a memory from Grand Gilles, an occasion on which he is been dancing like that in the ruins of some church of building during the war, because that's what he does. He like what he calls the song of the wind blowing into decrepit buildings. So you've got this little moment of transition. You see moments of a moment of his past when he engaged in such a thing.
I think that's enough to trigger both your refreshes, and if you had it's clear one in your stress, clear your stress track or clear a condition. If you let another PC is involved in that, you would have triggered both condition and clear the stress track. So stress is gone. That's great. So with that kind of, we've done the setup. What's the plan? What's going to happen next?
So remind me, because I'm new in this, in your whole deal. I've been picking up bits and bobs what you've been saying. I'm a good listener, but what are we trying to do now? We need to grab this song partition, or do we want to stop the performance?
Pearl, you seem pretty, when in the conversation you tried to open with Boris, you certainly create the impression that there's a lot at stake here.
Yes. I think we freed one girl and one man.
Oh, by the way, what happened to her? Is she with us?
Oh gosh, she's still with you. I forgot. No, I'm going to have her disappear. Oh yes, I'm going to have her disappear at the same point Chaz does.
Oh, wow.
Chaz has handed her back to the Soviets.
No. Traitor.
Yes. All that for nothing. Well remembered, Kalum.
Well, I think we have only one recourse. We must kidnap another girl.
I like your thinking. I mean, kidnap is a strong word. I would say, I don't know, sweep away or save from other kidnappers. But yeah, I guess that's the spirit. Who's the girl?
I don't understand these words. They don't mean what we're going to do.
Well, you know, you should. Minor, you should have found out that fixed the point of one's point of view. So for one, it might look like a kidnapping. What we did yesterday might look like a kidnapping to some. I would call that something different, but I'd rather not discuss the semantics of that with a representative of the law or a judge, you know, because yeah, it becomes a very academic debate, and I don't fancy those.
Oh, I see. Very
But
well.
in principle,
how do we sweep away and kidnap this girl?
So first, who is the lucky girl in this
her
case?
name is Seraphine. I keep forgetting this woman's second name. Durand. I shall write it down. Seraphine Durand. The pianist.
That sounds French. Huh?
Yeah.
Good. Although, yeah, French ladies can be difficult to handle in my experience.
How is that?
Well, you know, let's say that they can have rather long nails and they can be rather sharp.
Oh. Well, I don't think I would worry about that.
Well, I know you wouldn't, but you know, okay, so Seraphine, Mademoiselle Seraphine Durand. So we get the girl, and that's it, because can't they just take somebody else to perform the piece?
That would delay a performance, certainly.
Okay, Mrs. Seraphine Durand. Have I ever heard of Seraphine Durand?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't have a problem with her being a famous pianist. She probably spent the war in London playing concerts on the BBC. And her first concert was in Paris after liberation, and she's been playing in a number of European cities since. This is her first trip to play in a city under shared occupation, Vienna.
So, beyond kidnapping, I suppose we would have to find a way to intercept the music.
Well, do you think she could play it by heart or by ear? If we got the partition, do we need the girl, actually?
I mean, that's an interesting question. I think that certainly the impression that you got when Chaz went to talk to his contact at the Soviet embassy, Pyotr Sidorov, the impression you got, I think, was that they were keeping the music under heavy guard because it is so valuable. It's it's an unknown Beethoven symphony. My God,
Or disrupt the performance?
Or have her in board with us? Maybe Mademoiselle Seraphine would not. Do you think she would suspect that something is odd with that partition? I mean, would she have rehearsed it or had a look at it first? Because
those are questions you'd be guessing at.
She would be a very precious ally, to steal that partition.
I think all we know for sure is without Margaritte, she will believe the Soviets still have leverage on her.
I think, again, I'm prepared to just tell you that this is the first time that she has played at a concert organized by the Soviets. Usually it's been organized by the French authorities, but she seems to have been leveraged into undertaking this concert. I think the bottom line is whether you want to delay this music being played or stop it ever being played. If that seems to me to whether there's a fork in the road in terms of what you're planning to do, but go ahead.
Well, I certainly don't like kicking the can down the road. In my experience, comes back to bite you. But how can we get hold of that partition? It was difficult enough with your whole little team. Now there's just the two of us. That's a difficult item to acquire.
At this rate, there'll be none of us by the end of the day.
Well, you should keep optimistic spirit. Otherwise, you're gonna attract. It's bad vibe to be pessimistic, I find. Okay, what do we know about this partition? The Soviets allegedly got it.
So as far as you're aware, the Soviets have the score, the orchestral score, all the parts of the music. What the team thought they had lifted was in fact just blank paper in a wrapper, the cover for the score. What you know from Chaz's contact with the Soviets is that it is being held securely by them. But frankly, you have no real idea about where. You know that the concert is scheduled for the day after tomorrow or the evening after tomorrow at a refurbished museum that is being rebuilt in the center of Vienna. And it's been used for some concerts before, but this will be its largest and kind of opening concert. That's about it.
Are there statues in this museum?
It would be an odd classical museum if it didn't have statues. I think it's fair to say that even without going to look, it's a pretty fair guess there will be statues there.
Yeah.
You want to set up a delivery for an additional statue? Maybe a statue carried on a trolley by a friendly, burly chap with a French accent?
I think that might make pardon me. I think that might make a lot of sense.
When is that concert? Is it tonight already?
The evening after tomorrow. So it's now dawn today. It's not this evening, it's tomorrow evening.
Because I guess we could get you in the place by delivering you tonight. I wouldn't stay with you there, but you could be inside, spend the night there, maybe open a door for me. But if I show up with a statue to deliver, I guess we can twist things so that why would someone why would they suspect someone bringing a statue and just leaving and say, well, I don't know, I'm supposed to deliver the statue, just take it, sign my delivery paper, and then I go, and they take you inside, and then you can, I don't know, open a door or something for me. I don't know. I'm just spouting ideas.
Well, I suppose we have more time to decide. We could elsewise speak with, and I apologize.
It's fine.
Seraphine.
Mm-hmm.
If she's not under guard.
Yeah, that's a thing.
You could certainly try to find Seraphine. So far, you don't know where she is.
Let's maybe start with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are we going to find out where this French pianist is located?
First of all, do you wish we find her?
Is that addressed to me or
No,
what?
it's Durand addressed to Pearl. Do you wish we could find her?
Oh, wish. Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yeah, great.
I keep forgetting that move. So remind us how that works.
So Djinn moves. Your element is air, your first and true home. When someone gives voice to a wish in your presence, so it doesn't even have to be to me, roll with advantage when you take action to grant it. This applies even if your interpretation of the exact words of their wish differs from theirs.
So that's Pearl's wish, Grand Gilles. What do you intend? How would you intend to try to deliver on Pearl's wish?
All right. I guess among the contacts, the people I bring stuff to, especially people, maybe older people, I brought stuff to during the war when things were more scarce. There's probably, hopefully, there's at least someone who would be especially a melomaniac of some kind. Really into the Vienna's musical scene. So I would get in touch with that person and question them about what they know of that person and the venue and all things are organized. Where do they usually keep their host if they have a specific place, a hotel with which they have regular contacts, or maybe sometimes big organizations they got apartments of their own, so maybe they would know about that. So I'm sort of shuffling my contacts to find out about that.
Okay, so during the first half of today, Grand Gilles is going around his contacts in Vienna trying to find out what he can. We'll see how that goes in a minute. How does Pearl want to use this half a day? Doesn't have to.
How does she want to use it, or how will she use it?
Well, feel free.
I think Pearl will do what she does, right? Which is to say, she will observe people, but I think she might take a little bit more of a strategic approach to it, and try to observe maybe the comings and goings at the museum for now.
Absolutely. So again, we've kind of got used to seeing Pearl observe from some, the corner of a Baroque block, or maybe a sort of what was a ruined Baroque block, just there posing, looking at the comings and goings. So yeah, she can find a place opposite the main doors to the main entrance to the museum, and watch the comings and goings. And I think it's fair to say that there will be quite a few comings and goings, including, I would have thought, a first rehearsal. And so she will first thing in the morning, see the arrival of musicians carrying their instruments, and then a car with French diplomatic plates will pull up, and out will get an attractive young woman who clearly looks like looks like Margaritte, has enough similarities to Margaritte. So there is Margaritte, who you rescued last time, and this is the young woman who gets out of the car. So it looks like there is a rehearsal about to begin. Do you have any plans for that rehearsal, Pearl? Or will you just continue observing?
How does this woman look when she gets out of the car and goes in? Does she seem composed, confident? Does she seem concerned, or what's her demeanor?
That's an interesting question. I think that is roll to decipher someone.
So terrible at that. Okay.
Is again roll plus operator. If natural operators, if there is something about, if you can spin this to be a supernatural sense, then you can roll with fable. Whether that's any better for you, I don't know.
Only a little, but yeah.
So what is that? How does your supernaturalness?
So I think this, right? So Pearl, being created, has this subtle connection to all humans, because she desires more than anything, really, probably at some fundamental level, to have a master. And so she can sense, people who could potentially be a good master for her, and their humanity and their senses and feelings, their wishes and desires may become somewhat clear to her.
Yeah, no, I go with that. Okay. So roll to decipher, roll plus fable, using this kind of innate sense of people.
Oh, that's better. 8. It's 8. Not wonderful, but it's better.
So on 7 to 9, ask one question, and then you get to roll with advantage acting on the answer. So how could I gain leverage? Where's a weak point I could exploit? What danger am I overlooking? What's going on under the surface? Who's pulling the strings here?
Well, we know the answer to the last one. Yeah, let's go with what's going on under the surface.
Okay, so I think that what you will see is she's got a French minder, who gets out of the car with her. And he is leading her up the steps into the museum. When out of the museum comes Boris Stepanovich. And Boris beams at her. And it is clear that she shrinks away from him. So I think that from that you could reasonably imply that she is feeling the strain, that she realizes that he is pulling this particular set of strings. Does that seem like a reasonable answer to your question?
It does.
Yeah. And then she goes inside. Is that all you want to do with this rehearsal, Pearl? Because I can cut then to the end of the morning, and we'll see how Gilles' inquiries have gone.
Yeah, Pearl is not really an infiltrator of any sort, and so I think yes.
Okay, let's cut to Grand Gilles, and we see a montage, I think, of him going from contact to contact, from person to person, trying to find out this information. So I'm inclined. I'm just trying to look at the moves. What have we got? What are you trying to trigger as a move?
Bum bum. Decipher?
I think it is decipher. Yeah, I think it is. There's no specific question there, but I think we can interpret what's going on under the surface or something like that, or a weakness I could exploit, maybe.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the one I was looking at.
Well, again,
so
you
what
tell
should
me.
I roll?
You're rolling with advantage because you're seeking to meet Pearl's wish. But it sounded like you were using your natural contacts rather than any supernatural.
Yes, that's for sure. So, I mean, just straight, it sounds like decipher rather than inspire or back someone up. So it would be operator.
Fine.
Yeah, I think you see Gilles meeting different people. He's gonna, before he left, he picked up what do you call that? In his collections of vinyls, he picked up a couple of them, of records, and later you see him meeting someone in a big fancy apartment. He's kind of behaving in a jovial manner with that person. It's an old man, bald, with a monocle, and then Gilles is like, look at what I got for you here, and it's a record which that person fancied for a while. So Gilles decided to part with it. You see him discussing, then the person, there's not even sound, but then you see Gilles in a cafe with an old lady, and apparently he's kind of following a trail of people I could spend time with to find out more things. So the old lady is just happy to have someone to share a slice of apple strudel with, and have a coffee, and one thing after another. He learns a few things, and the reveal of what he learned is when he meets again with Pearl. You muted.
So I am. Please roll to decipher. So roll plus operator, but you're rolling with advantage. So roll 3 dice and take the top 2, or re-roll the low one.
Yeah. Oops. What a suspense. Man. Oh, did it re-roll both? I don't know what happened.
It did. It did. I was seeing 1 and 4. Now I'm seeing 3 and 6.
Yeah, I was surprised because the 1 and 4 was the same thing before I rolled, so it was a bit confusing. So that would be 3 and 4, 7 plus 1, 8 then.
Hang on, no, I'm seeing 3 and 6 on the dice.
Yeah, because it seemed I don't know. It said 1 and 4. I told them roll both.
Yeah.
And then the result was 1 and 4 again, which was a bit confusing. I selected the 1 and asked for a reroll of just the 1, which has become a 3, but the other one changed also to a 6.
Yeah, well, I think that we're looking at 3 and 6 then as an outcome.
Okay, so that's a 10 then.
Fine. So on a 10, ask 3 questions.
Ooh, wow, that's gonna be nice.
More questions than you'd like.
Okay, so
It's almost like you're getting wishes.
Yeah, where's a weak point I could exploit?
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that so back in the apartment we then get a little, as you're explaining. So I talked to so and so. And that led me to the Grand Hotel, which is in the international part of Vienna, the central part of Vienna. And so the weak point you would exploit is you now know where she is staying. She is staying at the Grand Hotel.
Okay, and could that be that I know my way in the Grand Hotel? That's the weak point.
Because I think this was about finding out where she was.
Okay.
So I think that's as far as that one. You can ask that question again.
Okay. Yeah. Where's the weak point for me to get to her within the hotel? So the weak point is that I know.
And given what we know about Gilles already, I think it's not unreasonable that he should have a connection with the kitchens, so he could get into the kitchens. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
And a third question.
The third question. What danger am I overlooking?
There are. Which ones? Yeah, I think that what your contact at the Grand Hotel tells you is that there are a group of French Secret Service guarding her.
I'd like to picture that it was the old lady who told me about that. She said, "Oh, you're French, but you're so nice. You're not like this group of people I ran into the other day in the Grand Hotel who shoved me aside and you see the flashback within the flashback of her being pushed aside by the French intelligence service. Okay, so the French intelligence service is in there.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to suggest that's a good point for us to take a break, so you can contemplate what you're going to do with that information. It's 6 minutes past now. Shall we be back in our seats at 1:15 just to have a decent kind of stretch? Because, Will, you need to just walk around the room. You just got up. Okay. I'll see you in a moment.
See you. Hmm.
Okay. So, the other thing I think I will add is an observation that Pearl made, that Seraphine left long before the orchestra left. She was perhaps there for 20 minutes before leaving. And on the basis of your kind of sense of people, I won't make you roll again. There is a sense of frustration about her when she leaves. And it looks almost like as if when Boris is seeing them out, her and her minder, it's almost like he's being terribly apologetic.
So the French intelligence is embroiled in this as well. So I'm confused about what's going on. The Russian.
They seem to be providing protection for Seraphine.
Because the French would not. I mean, to be honest, I'm not quite sure what the Soviets are trying to achieve here. Because if they unleash a terrible thing on Vienna, I'm not quite sure it served their purpose. I mean, it's not like they were holding a concert in London or Washington DC or even Paris or Bonn.
Okay, well, what we know from an earlier session, which in fairness you weren't part of. So we know that this is connected to a group called the Red Warlocks.
Yeah.
A radical branch of revolutionaries trying to call up chthonic forces to assist regime changes in Europe. So whether Vienna is to be an exemplar, a lesson for the great powers to note, we don't know.
There are more wildcards types of individuals. All right. No, it's because I was wondering if the French. Do we have any mean of proving what we know? Do we have any proof that we collected previously?
What about the effect the symphony will have?
Yeah. What we found out.
Nico the Witch kind of communed with the the original cover for the music that the team did manage to steal in session 1. And what he saw was this vision of the effect the music would have.
All right. Yeah, but
so that's, as far as you know, that's a certainty.
Yeah, but we don't have a mean of convincing the the French.
No, you have nothing concrete at all.
Okay. So
now that's not to say you couldn't set about trying to find something concrete, but you'd kind of need the music for that, I think.
Okay.
So it's now the afternoon of today. Tomorrow evening, the concert will take place. I'm still not entirely clear what the end objective. I know the objective is to stop the music being played, but I'm not clear which route you're taking to that.
I don't think it's clear for us either, to be honest.
Because earlier you talked about, we could disrupt the performance, we could stop her playing, we could kidnap her, which would just kick the can down the road.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, I'm gonna go clean a bit. I'm a bit frustrated that we decided to not have Margaritte with us, because if she was with us, it would be quite different and the path would be clearer. I think we would. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's tricky. But even without that leverage, if that leverage didn't exist, then Seraphine might feel able to say no to playing. But again, that just kicks the can down the road. So that's what I'm trying to pin you down on at the minute. Is your objective to delay the playing of the music, or to stop the music ever being played?
Well, the only, I mean, anything could happen, but the only sort of sound, pun intended, way to grab the partition for me seems that we would have Seraphine on board with us, and she would help us. So I'd be tempted to try to meet her discreetly at a hotel room, and then try to sway her into.
Well, before you get in, because I think we're at risk of being paralyzed by planning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So let me be clear about your objective. Is your objective to get hold of the music?
Yeah, and destroy it.
Well,
Like,
to get hold
it.
of the music.
Yeah.
So now if we're clear about that as an objective, how do you, where could you get it, and how will you therefore get it? I think is the way to approach this.
Well, I think the only way I can really see us getting it is at the time of the performance, because that's the place where we know when and where the partition will be, and to some extent, there will be security, but they won't be literally having the partition in a briefcase or in their pocket. It will be on a stand, surrounded by musicians, and I mean, if we manage, we just need the time to burn it, to destroy it somehow. I guess. So it seems to me like the best moment to grab hold of that partition. I don't know. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's under lock and key now, so I don't think, there's much chance of getting it from the midst of this faction. In the meantime, I had in my mind sort of this thought of and this is, definitely doesn't fit the Le Carré vibe, but a moment where we set the stage with statues all over it, and one of them being Pearl near the piano, right? And then, have that opportunity to kind of snatch away the music at the last moment, right? But yeah, I mean, it's a performance too, so that would be somewhat terrifying.
Well,
is the performance in a museum and it's like in the court of the museum, or is it on a stage? Because a stage can reach it from under or from above.
Well, I mean, do you need to do some intelligence gathering about the location?
Yeah, sure.
Because at the minute, you know where it is, and you know that there's this front entrance, and we are assuming there's going to be statues in the museum, but you know nothing else about it.
Yeah.
So how is this intelligence gathering on the, I don't know, layout of the museum, ways in, ways out? How are we going to come at that? Pearl, what are you thinking?
Well, we either need to know someone who knows the museum, or we need to see it ourselves.
Now, you have a number of contacts, the people you have leverage on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of those are going to be very helpful for you.
Let's ask Boris. I bet he knows.
Well, you could try and track down Boris. That's a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's possible that Lucas Bauer may have done work at the museum.
Couldn't it just be possible that he's helping with some of the renovations, the rebuilding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so set me a scene with Lucas Bauer, the stonemason who found you and helped you, Pearl.
All right. Well, if he were working there, he always eats lunch somewhere off-site from wherever he's working. He packs his own lunch and he brings it with him, and he always finds a nice, quiet stretch of grass to sit down and eat his lunch.
And I think just to keep with the post-war vibe, the most obvious piece of grass has been dug up for vegetables. And so he was sitting on some rubble next to this vegetable patch. Yes. when Pearl goes to see him. So what do we see happen, Pearl?
So he's sitting there eating calmly, right? And Pearl doesn't really waste any breath, well, for lack of a better word, but very determinedly walks right up to him and says, "Hello, Lucas. You are working at the museum, right?"
Yes, Pearl, I am. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
Right. Good to see you. How is the museum?
It's we've done a lot of work. It's weatherproof now, and I'm doing some work on the cornice at the back, down the right hand side of the building.
Sure. What about the interior? Have you worked in there much?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I get up to the roof to do some of the work. So yes.
Oh, of course. Do you see I hear they're preparing for a concert.
Yes, yeah. In one of the main halls, the largest hall, I think it must be. Yes, they've built a stage, and there's seating, and they put chairs in, all that kind of thing.
A stage, right? A raised stage.
Yeah. And also they've now laid out seats for all the orchestra in front of the stage. No, sorry, at the back of the stage. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking it's not a performance; it's an orchestral piece. So yeah, so they've got this big piano up there.
Oh, are there any decorations?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some, it's a quite ornate place. They've had to move the statues, which I think normally sit in the middle of the hall for display. I think they've moved those to one side to allow the seating. Why? Why do you ask, Pearl? What's?
Oh, well, I'm always fascinated by the comings and goings of people.
Well, you should come down to my workshop, and it would be nice to see you more often, Pearl.
Well, yes.
Now, are you exerting leverage here? Because at the minute, all he's doing is passing the time of day.
Right.
Now, you may think that you've got enough out of that, at which point, fine and dandy. But, do you want to exert, you have leverage on him, or do you want to decipher the situation via him?
I'm not sure what else information he would have necessarily that he hasn't freely given, right?
Well, it might allow you to ask very specific questions.
It might be morning brain, but I can't think of another question I would ask him at the moment. So maybe this is good.
Okay, no, that's fine. So you've got a general layout of the where the performance will take place, and so yeah, you know what the inside, the location where the performance is going to take place broadly looks like. There might be some details that he's not kind of thought to mention, but that's the kind of general picture of the place that we've developed. Yeah. Okay. Grand Gilles, is there any intelligence gathering that you want to undertake?
So I was thinking I could try to corner one of the Boris goons I got leverage on.
Yeah, well, we know that Boris was at the museum this morning. So presumably some of his goons were there. So Pearl didn't see him leave before she left. So what do we see Grand Gilles doing that afternoon?
I think we see one of the goons. They sort of taking turns. I don't know, guarding the place or patrolling the area maybe. And the one I had an exchange with sort of wave at another, say, time for my break, I'm gonna have a cigarette. And he ends up in a back alley of behind the back door of the museum, and he hears the voice of Grand Gilles, who tells him, these are Turkish cigarettes. Fancy trying a Belgian one? And then when he turns, Grand Gilles is there.
And he kind of looks at you, and yeah, exactly. It's kind of you.
Yeah, it's me, but I don't want any trouble. I'm just curious. Reconciliation. That's the word nowadays. So I don't see why this could not happen between you and me.
So what does this mean?
I don't know. I thought I would have a chat with you. You didn't come across as the fanatical type to me. I was just wondering if you knew what you were into at the moment.
So when you exert your leverage over someone, say what you want from them, and then remove an option below. So what are you after here? Because I don't know how to have him respond yet.
Yeah. Exert leverage. Okay, I'm gonna presume that he is not a fanatic willing to die for what's gonna happen. So I want his discreet help.
To do what?
To give us just that opening to get close to the performance. Just that gap in the patrols of Boris men in the security team.
So could we refine that down to you want him to leave the back door open at an appropriate time tomorrow evening?
Yeah, look the other way, this sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, so and then you remove one of the options that he has.
Okay, I remove one of the options. I want to remove brazen it out by marking a condition.
Okay, I think what he will say is, because then he gets to choose from the ones that are left. he will say, look, the boss is getting a little bit nervous about this. Just wait here a moment. And he goes inside. Do you wait there a moment?
Yeah.
Because I think he's
a gambler.
He is weaseling you out by giving you leverage they hold on someone else.
Okay. So,
yeah. And out comes Boris. And our friendly goon says, I think you might want to listen to what he has to say, Mr. Stepanovich. So now you have leverage on Boris. He gives you the leverage he has as just one of the team.
I have a name for the goon.
Let's call him Yuri. And I think that Boris is kind of thinking, well, he says, what, I thought I'd seen the last of you. But I want to say thank you for letting me go.
Well, as I was saying to your fellow employee, sorry, not employee, comrade, reconciliation is the word. I think it's a nice idea, and I'm a bit puzzled by everything which is happening. I'm sure you worked out by now that what happened yesterday evening was more than us trying to run off with a beautiful lady, or ever beautiful, no matter how beautiful she was.
Yeah, I assume that you know the value she has.
Well, I'm just surprised. Maybe, I'm not sure. I want to find out if what you call value is the same thing we consider she has value for. Are you just happy to die here during this performance? Because it's like, it sounds, what we uncovered is that a performance of that partition is going to unfold something very destructive, and at least the audience is very unlikely to get out of that museum when she sings that part. I'm just surprised. Just like your comrade, I did not take you for the fanatic type who would kill himself for a cause like that.
Now, it sounds to me like you're triggering Decipher the person here.
Okay.
So do you want to go with Decipher first and keep your exert back?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's have you roll to Decipher. Again, it sounds like your natural. This is just conversation that you're trying to use to get a handle on him. So I think that's roll plus operator. Or is there some way that you believe you can put your Djinnness into this?
I was tempted to say that, because I come clean, I'm sort of putting my cards on the table, that it might slightly be more dreamer than operator, because what I'm trying is to inspire him to make the good call rather than trick him into it. I'm not lying to him.
Well, okay. So there are several options here. Decipher would allow you to ask a question, but you seem to be asking him questions. That's why I went to Decipher. Okay. And that would be roll plus fable if you used your supernatural side.
Okay, yeah. So I will use my supernatural side then. As I say that, the wind is slowly picking up, and it's starting to lift my silk scarf more and more, up to the point when I finished. It's intense. It's very localized, yet somehow it's not exactly aggressive. It's more like I am within a whirlwind, but not something which is harming me, and not something which would necessarily harm something. I seem to revel to be standing in that whirlwind and having my scarf go up and my hair carried by it.
I'm still struggling a bit because that now sounds like you're looking to intimidate him,
Oh, sorry.
doesn't it? This display of power.
I don't know. I was trying to make it not aggressive, just stress the fact that I'm more informed of things which might not be of the natural world, rather than being really intimidating. I'm just coming clean with you.
I think you need to work with the idea that this is about understanding people.
Okay.
Now, how does your supernatural nature lead to you having a kind of fundamental understanding of mortals?
Well, I would say I've granted a lot of wishes as a Djinn.
Exactly.
And,
That's where I think this goes.
And
you know about human weakness.
There's those few shots, close-ups of my eyes and his eyes, and I've reached a point in my Djinn career. There could be even a sort of expressionist cut of it, like I'm looking into his eyes and you see my eyes in close-up, and his eyes are replaced by a sequence of shots similar of a number of different people, old men, old women, young girls, young men, to represent that I've looked into the eyes of a lot of people across centuries. So I've reached this point when even before people express their desire, their wishes, I can guess them out just by reading it through their eyes.
Fine. That I think is a kind of is a good connection to your supernatural. So rather than roll with operator, I'm happy for you to roll with fable if that's your preference.
Actually, it's not.
Oh,
sorry.
Really? Okay.
I was just in the role player and not even looking at my face. So I'm gonna just roll because my operator is 1, my fable is -1.
Oh,
okay.
Well, we now know how you would use your fable to do this. Okay, so just roll +1.
All right. No. It keeps showing me nice things and then it changes. So that would be a 5.
So on a miss, well, mark experience. On a miss, still ask one question, but you're in the MC's hands. Prepare for the worst. So you ask your question.
I ask him a question. Okay. Is that supposed to be one of the questions under decipher?
Yes. You know, I'll interpret them as broadly as I can.
Yeah, sure, of course, yeah. What's going on under the surface, actually? Oh, no. Yeah, what's going on under the surface?
I think that Boris does not want to die.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that he will die if this is played, or that he may well die if this is played. So I think, and that's the point at which, yes, that's the point at which 3 uniformed Soviet troops enter the alleyway, shouting, "Mr. Stepanovich, the commissar needs to speak to you." What do, Grand Gilles? Because they then look at you and say, "Who is that?"
So am I alone with Boris, or is one of his goon there?
His goon has ducked inside. As soon as
the goon has ducked inside,
come around the corner, he's made a discreet exit. Okay.
I want to trigger a distract or trick. I'm gonna turn to Boris and say, "I'm sorry, it's for the form. I'm sure you understand," and I'm gonna punch him.
Okay.
Like to make it look like I was attacking him and then I flee, but I want to make it look like we were not having a conversation. I was just trying to do something to him.
Okay. So yeah, roll plus operator. I mean, you're all both rolling so well today. This can't possibly go wrong.
That's really mean to try to jinx things like that. 6.
Oh my goodness me! Mark experience again. So they are not fooled. They are running towards you, drawing guns and opening fire.
Wow.
What do you do?
I get out. Get out.
Okay, so I think that this is. I think we need to engage with this at some point. This is take serious harm. I think that they are shooting at you with proper bullets. So when you take serious harm, roll plus stress. On a 6-, you're clear. Say how you managed to shrug off the blow. On a 7 to 9, blah blah blah. So roll plus stress. Now that's a good thing because you don't have any at the moment, do you?
So it's a bad thing, actually.
If it's no, because low numbers are good.
Oh yeah, okay, of course. So
I have to say I quite dislike moves that do that.
3.
3. My goodness me! On 6-, you're in the clear. So we see there's ricochets off the side of the building, and you disappear off into the alleyways of Vienna. It's now evening time. What are you going to do with your evening? Tomorrow evening is the concert. But Boris doesn't want to die.
Yeah. But now he might be compromised. So I tell that story.
Hang on, I think Pearl was just going to step in.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that. I just gave the information to Pearl.
Well, he's really the only one who knows who we are. So perhaps it could work. There are many statues in the forum where the music will be played. Perhaps I could hide in plain sight. If we rearrange them.
So how are you suggesting that would happen?
We'd have to, I don't know, get into the museum tonight or something, move things around.
Or have someone have you delivered there with a message for the exhibition. Or I mean, just have you delivered in a crate, and you can open the crate, right? Or we can put yourself inside the crate with a tool to open the crate at night, and then you just position yourself overnight.
Yeah.
And me, I will take advantage of the evening I want to find a disguise of some kind, just enough so that the guards who saw me, Boris and Yuri, could still recognize me, but not the guards who shot at me. So I guess other clothes and maybe a fake mustache or a beard of some kind with a hat looking very like a melomaniac.
Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with how is Pearl going to get into the Pearl? How are you going to get into the museum? Was that tonight or tomorrow morning? I've rather lost track. Go on.
Tonight, so she can position herself overnight.
Okay, so Pearl, how do we see Pearl getting into the museum tonight?
I mean, the delivery is an option, right?
I mean, tonight, that sounds a little trickier now. That's what I was going to be clear about this morning, tomorrow morning, or tonight. So
Right.
there'll certainly be a night watchman on duty.
Yep, we'd have to either avoid him or take him out of the picture, I suppose. The latter would be more Pearl's forte. Or the delivery in the morning, but then there'll be people there setting up and doing things, I would imagine. So it'd be harder to make any movement. What do you think, Grand Gilles? Should we... Do you think you have any way to distract the night watchman at the museum?
A way to... Do you wish you could get inside the museum? I like this mechanic, but I think there should be a cost to the person who wishes.
It seems a little loose, I have to say.
I love the idea, and I especially would love it if it was like overhearing someone saying something. But being able to use it with the other players, I think there should be a little cost of some kind.
But right now there isn't, so milk it.
Yeah. So I guess, Pearl, you wish that you could enter.
I really do. I really do wish that there were an easy way into the museum tonight.
Okay.
So that gives Grand Gilles advantage to try to help you in.
Yeah.
So how does that play out, Grand Gilles? And then I'll come back to Pearl about how you get in. Because we talked about loading out in boxes and stuff. You could just, break in. You're not a statue all the time.
Right.
You don't have to be delivered as a still life. So maybe that's the way around to do this. Pearl, how do you imagine getting in? And then we'll go to Grand Gilles to see how that might give you advantage or something to get in.
I don't know. Is there a skylight? Can we do this Ethan Hunt style? No.
Well, there's a get in, get out move. When you use an opportunity to get in or get out of a place, say if you're breaking or sneaking. If you're breaking, roll plus weapon. If you're sneaking, roll operator. So what's your preferred approach?
Probably breaking.
Okay. So because then we'll just need to worry about whether Grand Gilles is going to be able to distract the night watchman, say. Yeah. So, I mean, we already know that you can climb up to the top, to rooftop levels to play statue and observe people. So I'm probably seeing you climbing up the back of the building. But Grand Gilles, how then are you going to distract or otherwise help in terms of this night watchman? Or you can simply mark stress to aid Pearl.
Yeah, I will mark stress to aid Pearl then.
Okay, so you mark stress. That means that Pearl, we cut straight to your breaking in with advantage. So you are rolling plus weapon with advantage. So 3 dice, take the top 2.
That is 11.
So on a hit, you make it. On 7 to 9, you would have left something. You would have brought something important with you and marked some stress. But you do none of those things. You are inside the museum. I'm going to suggest that's where we take a 5-minute break. We're back here just after the hour. Is that okay? And then we'll play through. Fine.
Okay.
See you shortly.
See ya.
We'll give him a minute. But because I have the character keeper contracted down to a minimum number of columns, I've just realized that there is a tab marked mission moves. Can I suggest that we have a quick look at the mission moves?
Ooh.
Yeah, when you embark on a mission with allies, specify your basic approach. Stealthy entrance, going gun blazing, etc., and answer these questions. Do you have good intel about the mission? Do you have resources or connections that will help with this mission? Take +1 for each answer, then answer these questions. So I think that we won't. I don't think the mission has started yet. I think the mission starts at the point where you seek to, steal the piece. This is a kind of prep for it. But then I think we will try to use those. And I also notice flashback to preparation. During a mission, you can mark stress to flashback to preparation and establish something about your gear or your prep for the mission. The MC will let you know if a role is required in the flashback. Okay, so we'll try to engage with that before we finish.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was checkpoint moves also.
Yeah, the only checkpoint move is the emergency room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or there are longer term checkpointy things, but I think what I'm feeling about the game is that it really needs at least 8 sessions to really begin to develop some of the bigger connections. But anyway, so Pearl, this is about breaking in. So you have where's it gone? So you're in. Where are you going to stash yourself? Where? Because unless given we got that flashback to preparation, we could now then cut fairly swiftly to what happens at the performance. But I'm just curious where Pearl is thinking of locating herself.
So I mean, once she's in, she probably take full stock of the performance area, right? And see how the statues there are aligned, and perhaps move a few of them around. Yeah.
I think probably I'm prepared to give you advantage on one roll, due to, and then whatever preparation you've made in flashback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that then we don't have to worry about exactly where you are, but you're where you might need to be. Does that seem? Yeah. Okay. So the performance is going to be now tonight, this evening. Gilles, is there anything that you want to do in advance, or we have the flashback to preparation? Maybe there isn't.
I mean, what I wanted to do from the get-go is get myself I don't know if it's an open performance or a disguise and an invitation to be in the audience.
Okay, I think probably there are invitations for VIPs, but I think in terms of then most of the people will simply be ticket buying members of the public.
Yep.
So I'm very happy for you to just buy a ticket.
Yep, I'll do that and get a disguise.
So we'll worry about how good that disguise is if and when it matters, and then we'll run a distract or trick. Yeah, does that seem fair? Okay. So Pearl, things that you will observe. There is another rehearsal. But from your vantage point now, you understand why Seraphine came out looking rather annoyed after a very short period of time, because while the orchestra, you see Russia, uniformed Soviet soldiers are handing out specific sheets of music, the various parts, to the members of the orchestra who need them. Seraphine comes in, and again there's an altercation with Boris, where she is saying, "But I have to practice with the orchestra. And he's saying, yes, I'm terribly sorry again. I thought we'd overcome this difficulty, and I thought someone had brought the piano part, but I'm afraid they still haven't. And Seraphine will storm out again. But I think I would like you to decipher the situation, Pearl, at this point. So again, is this used? I'm curious what you notice around the situation. So I'm happy for this. If you can make that around your supernatural, you can roll with Fable or you can roll with Operator.
I think again, maybe this is, about Pearl, knowing some of the hopes, dreams, fears, etc. of someone who could potentially be a master to her. And I think, she'll probably pay specific attention to Boris because she has had that conversation with Grand Gilles last night about, what he may have some misgivings. Maybe there's something there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go that.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, it's a 7.
Ask one of the questions from the list.
Well, as much as I want to know what's going on under the surface, I have my suspicion that they're not giving her the music to play because they don't want it to actually take effect until tonight when it's supposed to. So maybe...
So that's the question you're not asking me.
Correct. Where's a weak point I could exploit?
Okay. I think what you see is Boris and a couple of the goons, or one of the goons then brings a briefcase to Boris, and Boris opens the briefcase, looks inside, and you see him take out a piece of music and then lock up the briefcase again, and say to the goon, "Yeah, put it back in, put it back in the safe, and I'll come and collect it before the performance." Does that seem like a weak point you could exploit?
It does.
Okay. Gilles has obtained a suit of some description, probably over his cardigan, but unless there's anything else you want to do, I'm going to cut to people arriving at the museum for the performance.
He's got a fake beard, a monocle, and a hat, a top hat.
This gets more and more bizarre. So I think that probably the international police force, i.e., the 4 men in a jeep, are on duty at the front portico, but inside it's a joint French-Soviet operation. So I think there is the outside possibility that a Soviet agent or goon or soldier who's encountered Gilles during his escapades in the last 2 sessions is present. So I think I do need you to distract or trick. Let's see how good a disguise Grand Gilles has come up with. So you are rolling plus operator.
So that would be a 7.
A close run thing. On a 7, so on a hit, they are fooled. So it's good enough at this point. On 7, choose 2 of the bullet points to be true.
So I definitely keep them confused for more than a moment.
Fine. So we'll assume the disguise will hold until such time as you do something that an audience member wouldn't do.
Yeah, and
Although it's really tempting what's there, aren't it?
I would expose a weakness. If I can, yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to God mode you, but would it be possible to throw Boris under the bus?
Well, yeah, but remember, he chooses what he doesn't have to throw.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I may well throw someone under the bus shortly.
Yeah. So I will leave throwing someone under the bus. I think I can create an opportunity later with something else. But yeah, I'm going to expose a weakness or secret.
Okay. And I will remind Pearl that you have advantage if you act on that weak point you've discovered around. It's back in the safe. Fine. So there's an opportunity that leaves me to decide. I think that as Gilles is bustling through, some old lady is barred entry and escorted out with her hands behind her back. So somebody's thrown under the bus. And yeah, I think that'll do. I think that a member of the public is part of the distraction. It's not the same old lady, is it?
It could have been the same old lady, and maybe I stole her ticket. So you got a flashback that I stole her ticket, actually.
She's coming, but I have my ticket. I have my ticket.
I didn't pay for it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that. So people are streaming into the auditorium. Pearl, you will see people taking their seats. I think probably you'll notice the bizarrely dressed Gilles. Gilles, where is your ticket? I mean, the front 3 rows are for VIPs.
I mean, it would
Do you want it to be at the back? Or, in a discreet location, or do you want to be front and center? I suppose is what I'm
front and center. I mean, a bit of side, front left.
Okay. So Gilles is seated. We know Pearl is located somewhere that is going to give her advantage for some other action. So she's got 2 advantages in play. And we know that Gilles has created a 3rd advantage for himself or somebody else to make use of. The orchestra comes in. They have their music laid out, and there's a piano. Now, is there anything that I'm going to carry on talking till somebody tells me they want to do something? Well,
I mean, I really wish that Gilles could get the music out of the safe.
So how does a flashback of preparation? Because you only found out about that once you broke in here.
Yeah, I think we would have had to have coordinated a means of communication.
So what is that means of communication?
Carrier pigeon? No, probably a scroll, like a little.
Yeah, we left a note under a vase or something at the location, so I picked it up.
Okay. So the first thing that Gilles has to do is to go and get this, check the location. Yeah. Or maybe just come and lean against my statue before you take your seat. Let's not get over complex here. And so, out of the side of her stone mouth, apparently there's a safe, and that's where the piano music is. Now, that may mean that Gilles does not take his seat. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
It would be ideal to have it first. I do wish we had it.
I'm gonna try to go check the safe.
Oh, you do wish you had it.
Oh, I
you?
do wish. Yes.
And in the scene when I'm talking to Pearl as a statue, people cannot see what it is, but they can see. Well, it could be a flashback. Forget about it. No, it's fine. Okay, I'm gonna try to go to the safe.
So so you need to get backstage at least, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah. I think I shouldn't have used distract or trick earlier. I should probably have gone to maintain your cover. So what cover is Gilles going to adopt that he thinks will get him backstage?
So Gilles just picks up from there's flowers arrangements here and there. He goes behind a curtain. He grabs a vase with a flower arrangement, puts the vase behind the curtain, and just keeps the flowers, and just goes towards the coulisses, carrying his a big fancy bouquet of flowers. And the thing, the weakness that he noticed when he entered, when he distracted and tricked, was that there was a specific pair of guards, a French and a Soviet, who seemed to really not get along very well.
Okay.
And Gilles notices that they are sort of the one keeping the entrance to the backstage, and hidden behind a curtain, he's gonna say very softly, but sort of the wind. There's no wind inside, but sort of a wind is carrying those words towards the two guards, and it says something to the fashion like something very vulgar. That so in a fashion that the Russian thinks that the French guard said something very vulgar about his mother and his country. You're muted.
I'm sorry. This does sound like distract or trick, actually, rather than maintain your cover, if I'm honest. Only because you just, I think, justified using fable to roll maintain your cover. And we know your fable is not strong.
Could be get in or get out, huh? Get in.
Yeah, okay then. Go. Well, go, roll with operator to sneak in then. Sneak backstage. But you're rolling with advantage because of the advantage you set up before.
Yep. Okay, I got a 2 and a 4. I'm gonna re-roll the 2.
Okay.
Got a 4, so it's 8, 9.
9. So on a 9, on a hit you make it. On 7 to 9, you leave something important behind or take something difficult with you. Mark stress. So you mark stress. I'm going. Well, you tell me. No, I don't think you can tell me, can you? I need to tell you. I think that the French Secret Service man, while distracted, sees you disappearing behind the curtains and into the backstage area. So I think the French Secret Service man is going to follow you. That is the difficult thing that you bring with you. Okay?
Okay, cool.
Pearl, you see the Secret Serviceman heading across the auditorium to follow Gilles. Is there anything you want to do?
I want to break off a piece of my pinky and throw it at him.
I wondered if you want to do discreetly, but what is your objective? So it's not to kind of fell him.
No, just to distract him and get him thinking about something besides the strangely dressed man wandering into the back of the area.
Okay. So so you are trying to distract him. I come back to distract or trick, I think.
I think you're right.
So roll plus operator. Now, is this when you want to use the advantage you have for having got the lie of the land?
Maybe. I am going to use my release for modular. I'm going to mark my release for modular for this. Let's see. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Yeah, that comes in at a 9.
So they are distracted. So he thinks he knows where Gilles is going, and then you distract him. When he comes back, he's not sure where Gilles has gone. That seems a fair fictional description. But on 7 to 9, choose 2. So expose a weakness or secret, gain leverage. You create an opportunity for yourself or another, granting advantage. You definitely keep them confused for more than a moment or two. And you don't have to throw someone else under the bus.
I'm gonna choose the it keeps them confused for more than a moment or two.
Okay, and the second one.
Weakness or secret, gain leverage.
Okay, so I think what you notice is that this French Secret Service agent picks up this finger and then begins to try to work out which statue it came from. And when he sees you, he is struck by your beauty. Gain leverage or French Secret Service man. But this does mean you have to throw someone under the bus. Who gets thrown under the bus here?
Probably someone standing near me, or as near as possible, who could have broken the finger and thrown it, right?
And he's saying to this person, do you know this is a wonderful statue, and yet you choose to vandalize this, and marches them out. Meaning that there is no one immediately near you. Yeah. So let's cut to Gilles backstage. What do you do now, Gilles? I think the plan's gone out the window, but we must roll that mission move. Damn. When you embark on a mission with allies, specify your basic approach, which I am now calling stealthy. Yeah?
Yep.
Do you have good intel about the mission? I think you do, actually, because you've had Pearl case in the joint. Do you have resources or connections that will help with this mission?
Yeah, we got Boris.
Leverage on Boris, leverage on the French Secret Service. Yeah, okay.
And on Yuri as well.
So that's +2 for each one. Take +1 for each yes. Okay. Then answer. Does everyone participating trust the leader's competence and intentions? Frankly, I think that's a difficult one to answer.
There's no real leader.
No, there isn't. Is everyone being upfront about their own agenda and motives? So yeah, there's nothing. You have no great power associations that cloud this. You are both on the right page. So I think that take -1 for every no. So I'm going to take, I think that's 0. I think that's nothing. So you're +2. So I think Gilles, roll with +2.
9.
9. So on 10, so 7 to 9, you're in the thick of things. You're hitting a snag, but you're still in the game. Okay, the snag is you have no idea where the safe is.
Yeah,
it's a fairly self-evident one, I think.
Okay. Can can I find the door which would say that's the, what do you call that? The dressing room of the performer. What's her name? Seraphine.
I think that you simply have to follow the trail of French Secret Service agents.
I mean,
there's certainly 2 of them down that corridor over there.
You know what? With my bouquet and everything, I'm gonna.
I will remind you of flashback to preparation.
I don't think here it applies. Maybe I'll use the adventures from the wish. But what I do when I arrive to a guy, say, and I speak in French, in good French, so should ease them. I tell them that I've got this bouquet of flowers for Mrs. What's her family name again? Mrs. Durand. And I was given away by the guards. Their officer told me to pass through. Do you mind me letting me through to bring those flowers from Mr. Boris Stepanovich?
I think their basic point is that no one goes in the room. You can give the flowers to us.
Well, it's a bit embarrassing, but it happens that Mr. Stepanovich had some personal words he wished to tell to me to share with.
I tell you what, it's just occurred to me that she still thinks Stepanovich has her sister. So the only person that she's told them to let in is if any word comes from Mr. Stepanovich. So they will let you in.
Okay.
I'd forgotten about that leverage, that the hostage situation that I've now recreated. So you're in the room with Seraphine Durand. She looks over and says, "Oh, put them there."
Yeah, I said these flowers are from Mr. Stepanovich.
Oh, that gets your attention.
I'm a bit embarrassed though, because he asked me to go fetch the partition from his personal safe, but I cannot manage to follow the instruction it gave me. Would you know where this safe is located?
How's my sister?
She was well yesterday evening. She had a good meal at the Restaurant Le Gourmand, and you should not worry about her as long as you follow the instruction you were given. But of course, I would need to be able to find the safe for this to happen.
And she'll come to the door with you and say to the agents, "Where is the office with the safe? Apparently, that's where my music is." And one of them says, "Oh, it's above here. It's the office. It's above this dressing room. These dressing rooms."
Oh, thank you very much, Mrs. Durand. I assume you wish your sister to be safe and well.
Of course I do. And the security agents, "What's this about your sister, mademoiselle?" So no, it doesn't matter. It's nothing.
I got a wish.
You got a wish. You got a wish. So we have 2 wishes in place at the moment. We have a wish for the safe and a wish for Margaritte.
I turn to the officer and I say, "Do you wish to know?"
Now, outside in the auditorium, the audience is getting a little bit restive. Pearl, Gilles, you're outside the door that says "manager" on it. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
I knock.
And you hear Boris Stepanovich's voice say, "Come in."
I just say in French, not showing myself through the door. I just open slightly the door, and I say, what's her name again? Mrs. Durand is very upset, and she requires you to come see her. Otherwise, she won't be performing, Mr. Stepanovich. Me and the rest of the intelligence protection are having a lot of trouble managing her. We would appreciate if you could come help out. And I put myself. I hope he will rush through the door, and I put myself so I'm just out of sight, like this.
That has to be maintain your cover in the face of scrutiny. No, it's not that. Which is it?
Isn't I'm just this distract or trick and this maintain your cover. I don't know. It feels like maintain your cover is more a long-term thing, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's face of scrutiny or ideological challenge. So maybe it's I'm struggling to see an obvious use for it at this point, particularly given the outcomes, which can be to grant you insight.
Yeah, I think it's more long-term when you try to you're the double agent or something like that. Maybe
interrogation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we seem to be using distract and trick for everything though, but go with distract and trick.
Could be get in, huh? I distract or trick to get in. So that would be a 5. Can I use the leverage I've got on Boris?
Well, yeah, but leverage.
So that's 6 right now with my operator.
Okay, so exert leverage. Say what you want from them. He would have to know it's you.
Okay. It's okay.
This could be the point at which you employ the fact that Pearl wishes that you open the safe.
Yes.
I was just going to say that.
Amazing.
Yeah. So re-roll the 2.
Yes. That's a 7. That's an 8.
Yes. Okay. So that's on an 8. Choose 2.
Well, I got an opportunity for myself to enter that room. That's for sure. I will expose a secret or weakness again.
So you're not going to keep them confused for more than a moment or 2.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to keep them confused for a moment.
Okay. So that will get him past you and down the stairs at the end of the corridor, giving you a small but measurable window of time in that office. What do you do with that?
Okay, I would like a flashback of Pearl overnight. The Boris came, whoever's got the key of that safe came and inspected the area, the performance area, and was close enough to Pearl, so she stole the key or a set of key from that person. And the flashback is that Pearl handed me those keys when I was next to her earlier.
Okay. I can't think that is anything but get spooky. Yeah. So to intimidate someone, reshape your environment, or overcome an obstacle. But this is going to mean that the key is missing.
Yeah. Well, at this point, people have not realized. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, the key. I've got the key. People gave it to me if she succeeded.
Okay, so this is roll plus fable, Pearl. On a hit, the world warps to your will.
I
mean, this is the flashback that Gilles wants to have, but if it involves you, Pearl, it seems to me only fair that you have to, instigate it, agree to it.
Yeah. No, I think I do. Although I wonder if instead of taking the key, I might be able to maybe form a replica of it.
Oh my goodness me!
Yeah.
Oh yes, That would be very cool, wouldn't it? A stone replica of the key. Okay, no, I think that's very cool.
Okay, well, let's see if that works out. Ooh, hang on. I don't remember what I think it's 0 for Fable. It is, so that's a 9.
7 to 9, choose 2. You struggle to keep your sanity fully intact, mark stress. You've drawn attention and made yourself a target for now or later. I'm going to suggest that you can't choose that one because that would have blown your cover. So I think you have to choose the other 2. You struggle to keep your sanity fully intact, mark a stress.
Yep.
And your powers do things beyond what you meant.
Yep, I think that's right.
So mark a stress, but what did your powers do beyond what you meant?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to spin that in a nice way that that will be interesting. What about if what about if I get some insight into some trauma that has plagued Boris, and that's actually what triggers the how this what was it? Oh yeah, the sanity, right? So maybe a little bit of him transfers to me. Right?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So in duplicating this key, you have to reach out to Boris, and you get rather too much off Boris than you wanted.
Right.
Yeah, I think you reawaken in Boris some of his fears, perhaps from a famine in the 1920s, a fear of death was imminent, and now death is also imminent. So I think perhaps Boris is particularly nervous.
Yeah.
We already know he doesn't want to die.
Right.
This may be why he rushed out of that office without even thinking. So, Gilles, you have a key.
I opened the safe. Hopefully it's the right key.
It is the right key, and there is some sheet music. What do you do?
So I'd like another flashback in which I acquired some. I don't know if it's a flashback, to be honest. If it was Forged in the Dark, I would ticket my equipment. That I got a piece of thing, but I've got another partition of music, so I can swap them, and I just fold the right one, and I would pick that the partition I put in place is it's a rendition of Bella Ciao.
Okay. So there's a different piece of music put in place. Okay, and you have the piano part for this Supernatural Symphony. Pearl, No, I don't. I can't think unless Pearl chooses to do so. Having you hiding in plain sight as a statue has not proved terribly interesting for you as a character. So I just can't think of a way to.
I'm okay with it.
You okay? Okay. So Gilles, you have it in hand. Boris is coming back up the stairs to the office to get the music. What do you do when he comes into the corridor?
I get out.
So this is get out. Roll with. Do you barge past him, or are you trying to sneak out?
Let me check my. Yeah, I think it's 99% chances I'm gonna sneak, but
it's weapon or operator.
Weapon or operator. I could leverage, I guess, instead of.
You could confront him.
Yeah. So where does it work? Yeah, I will confront him.
Okay. So say what you want from them. What do you want?
I want him to let me go.
Okay. And remove an option below. What don't you want him to do from that list?
I don't want them to brazen it out by marking a condition.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. You spend leverage, so you lose the leverage.
Yes.
So maybe do I still have leverage over Boris then?
Yeah, because you didn't use the leverage before.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
It all turned tits up before you had a chance to exert your leverage before.
Okay.
I think do you tell him what you have in your hand?
Oh no.
He wants to cut a deal with you.
Sure, yeah. I'm all for deal. What do you wish for?
He wants you to get him out of Vienna as soon as he's handed the music to Seraphine.
Okay.
He has a light aircraft in a field.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Turns out that I've parked a friend's car around the corner.
So cut a deal by giving up leverage over you or giving you additional leverage over them. So he gives you leverage back, in effect. And goes inside, lets you pass, make your way out through the backstage or wherever you want to go. And he goes down, delivers the music, and outside Pearl, you will see somebody come out, lay the music on the piano, and then to polite applause, Seraphine Durand appears on stage. The conductor taps his baton. Do you do anything, Pearl?
Did we establish maybe a way to communicate, what's been achieved or not?
If with hindsight, I don't think I've encouraged you to use your supernatural powers as broadly as I might have done. So, for instance, I could imagine using Get Spooky to have Gilles communicate to you on the wind.
Well, to be honest, also, it's as good as just a nod, because I would be back in the audience with Boris not far away because I need to help him get out.
Right. Okay, so you're back in the audience.
So I see there, I'm nodding to the statue, then I nod towards Boris, then I nod towards the exit, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna get Pearl out of here. But
and the statue is like,
still, I'm very still.
Because I think that Get Spooky is meant to be a bit like Unleash Your Power in Masks.
Yeah.
Actually, the more that now it's beginning to dawn on me that you almost create your powers on the go. But anyway, she takes it. Seraphine takes a bow. She goes to the piano. She sits there. Conductor taps.
taking Boris as soon as possible. I'm not waiting for the start.
Boris is drifting down the side of the auditorium while the applause are going on. Gilles takes him under the arm, leads him out of the auditorium. Is that what's happening?
Yep.
And then the orchestra begins, and then the piano part stops. And she looks at the conductor, and I can't play this.
She's got to play it. Come on.
And the conductor looks at her, and she knows that she's supposed to play this music because her sister is otherwise at risk. And so the orchestra begins again, and then the entirely wrong. And there is sudden silence. The orchestra goes to a stop. A Soviet commissar in the front desk stands and says, "Get me Stepanovich." And I think that probably we are epiloguing our way out of this.
Yeah, I guess what I would like to do before I start the engines of the car is try to get leverage on Stepanovich.
Well, you have leverage.
So use leverage to have any mean to save the sister.
Yeah. So you then say, okay, I will take you, but we take Margaritte as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that he is prepared to have you race out of town via an apartment. And yeah, I think he'll go with that. I think he's vaguely in love with Marguerite Durand.
Mm.
So yeah, I just wanted to give you a chance to say whether you were going to dump on him or not, and it sounds like you're going to go through with it, at least as far as getting Marguerite.
Oh yeah.
And will you drive him to his light aircraft?
Yeah.
And noticeably, you see it head west.
Yeah.
Pearl. How do we see Pearl dealing with any of this?
The way she's dealt with everything this entire mission, she will watch. and she will. No, and that'd be the scene, right? The camera is just her watching everything that's going on as, the fallout from playing the wrong music, plays out. However, she will keep I do want to keep an eye on Seraphine. Yep, on Seraphine, and just sort of see what happens, and if there's any opportunity to maybe comfort her that comes up, right? She would definitely take that opportunity. But otherwise, no, she would just.
Yeah, I think that probably the French Secret Service will come onto stage as soon as it begins to look like this is not going as planned, and shepherd her off to safety. But I think we can assume that if I have an epilogue for this, it is her receiving a telegram the following day from Marguerite saying, "Safe in Paris, come soon." Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is our game. Now, normally I would do Stars and Wishes, Roses and Thorns on screen, but because I would quite like to spend this to just jot down any feedback for Alexei, I'm going to end the broadcast here and we'll do that off. Yeah? Is that okay? If it was a game of mine, I'd do it live, but I don't think it's fair to do it for somebody else's. So wave bye-bye.